That is good.
30-second countdown. Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's show, The Wellness Revolution, with Robert Wiedemann. He's a doctor, and his information is here, healthreform90@gmail.com, or you can text him at 406-270-3754 or getdocsminerals.com. Welcome, Doc.
Good evening. Well, I was off the last couple times. One was for weather and one was for being under the weather a little bit. So, but I'm okay today. And tonight, we're going to talk about weight loss. Now, I put it down as fat burning and exercise. And the reason is because so many people have trouble with weight loss. So it's a big issue out there. And, people go through these fad diets and things like that, and it doesn't work. So tonight we wanted to kind of cover this. Now, we want you to understand. Now, if you can put this other illustration up for just a moment, Doc.
Sure.
We want you to know that as a part of any weight loss protocol, you want to include the 90 essential nutrients. It's an important part of every exercise. 60 vitamins, 16 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 3 essential fatty acids, plus any bone and joint support that you might need to keep yourself going. It's so easy when you're in an exercise program to just injure yourself and then have to start all over again. So if you give yourself that bone and joint support, you'll be able to keep on going. And usually there's things that we can do to actually mitigate any of those injuries or even eliminate them altogether. So now we can go to the other. Can we go back to the first slide here? There we go. Fat burning exercise. Now here's what we're talking about this idea of going on diets. Because what happens is if you'll notice along the progression of thing, you may lose a lot of weight, but then a couple days after you're off your diet, you're back up to your old weight again. Have you ever seen that happen, Doc, with yourself? And you end up gaining more and more. So, and if you'll notice, most of the weight loss stuff on the internet is very temporary, because they make a lot of money off of selling you weight loss products. And so we're not into, in this show, The Wellness Revolution, we're into trying to help you mitigate the costs to you and your family. And, with that, I have to say that one of the consistent things that you can do is keep yourself on the 90 essential nutrients, keep yourself on Dr. Wallach's protocols so that you're not getting into this weight loss thing all the time. But here's what we want to cover for you. I want you to understand a few things here. Okay, first of all, fat cells store energy. And did you know that muscles actually store energy too in the form of sugar? And it's the first thing that your muscles will burn is the sugar that's in the muscles. Okay. Muscles burn sugar in anaerobic exercise. Muscles burn fat during aerobic exercise. Okay. So fat needs oxygen to burn. Now, how many times have you, Doc, gone out and exercised a little too much and ended up with sore muscles?
Oh, all the time. Yeah.
Okay. That's because you're burning sugar and you're getting out of breath when you exercise. And so your muscles begin to burn the sugar instead of fat. In an anaerobic type of exercise, and so you end up with the lactic acid. So anyway, fat cells and muscle cells, the fat cells are like the gas can, and the muscles are the engines of your body. Okay. So if you're going to make real progress, it equals performance. The elements causing muscle contraction, you have to have calcium in there too. This is why we say you want to have the bone and joint support along with this, because it's very important. And then ATP, adenosine triphosphate, that's what your muscles really burn. That comes from sugar and fat. And of course, the muscle impulses drive the muscles. So you want to keep yourself in good chiropractic shape, keep yourself in alignment so that the muscles will receive the proper impulses. Now, here's the importance behind keeping yourself under chiropractic care. If you have a vertebral subluxation, it will alter the tension on your muscles. There's a normal tone. These muscles are actually motors. Now, if you take a stethoscope and listen to a muscle, you'll hear a little bit of a roar. And when you go to contract that muscle, you'll hear a bigger roar. That's because more of these muscle fibers they fire and then relax. They fire and then relax. There's an impulse to each of these muscle fibers. And the reason your muscles will tire, let's say that, have you ever held a weight heavier than you could hold and you ended up dropping it?
Yes.
That's because your muscle impulses, you ran out of fresh, in other words, they fire and then they recharge themselves. They're actually an electrical motor. Now, people don't realize this, but the muscle is an electric motor. And as it runs, these impulses go to the muscle tissue. It's called muscle tone. Now, what is muscle tone? Well, I'll tell you what. If I took this muscle here and cut it in half, the ends would retract because they're under tension, say from the nerves. Now, I wouldn't want to do that, but you can. Do you know what? Have you ever heard of muscle flaccidity, Doc? A flat.
No.
Muscle? Well, let's say that you have cut the nerves to your arm. You may have seen a person that has an arm that is, has no muscle tone to it. It's called a withered arm. And basically what's happened is somewhere along the line, somebody has lost the nerves leading to that muscle tissue. Maybe they got shot with a gun and, ended up in the brachial plexus here and severed some nerves, so that the entire arm is limp or something. Or maybe there's been a cancer or a surgery or some kind that's had to cut those nerves out. Well, in the normal scope of things, one of the things that we notice is that the extensor muscles of the spine are in tone, and if you're out of adjustment, it'll pull a leg short. Well, if you're exercising and out of balance like that, it can cause injury to the rest of the spine and so forth. So it's important to have proper alignment when you're exercising. Plus, you want to have the nutrients that you need for your body. Okay, so here's an illustration of fat cells and anaerobic respiration. You're burning sugar, and it ends up in lactic acid. There's no oxygen necessary with this right there because it burns pure oxygen. With fat cells, you have to have oxygen with it, and the product is carbon dioxide and water as a result of it. Okay, let's make exercise work here. If you use more muscles, lower intensity, more fat burn. Walking uses less muscle than jogging. Cross-country skiing is best overall. And Celocizer is equal to or better than cross-country skiing. And the reason is that upright exercise, like for instance let's see if we can get an illustration here. Okay, here we go. Upright exercise, swimming is one of the least, swimming is not a good exercise for weight loss. And the reason is that you're using what kind of muscles, large or small? Let's go back here. What are the large muscles?
You're asking me? Go ahead.
Yeah. What are the large muscles?
Well, I believe the calf muscle, not the calf muscles, the thigh muscles.
And the buttocks.
And the buttocks, right?
Yeah, the buttocks. They're the largest muscles. The gluteus medius, minimus, and maximus. You've heard of the gluteus maximus, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And but the muscles of the arm, see how much smaller they are? Now that doesn't mean that they won't burn fat, but they don't burn as much. See, and here you can have your heart rate be pretty much the same whether you're using your arms to exercise or your leg muscles. Okay. So swimming, for instance, you're using the smaller muscles, plus the fact you're not dissipating, your calories are not getting dissipated properly. So I mean, you the more you weigh, see, your fat is a great insulator, and you want to put off these calories as you exercise. And if you're in water, it cools you down, and so you just really don't burn off the calories like you should. Okay. So, and here's another phenomenon that I will talk about here. I don't want to disparage swimming, because if you're proper weight, you can maintain your weight by swimming, but you just don't lose any weight. Okay. However, one of the things I've noticed is that weight loss seems to be easier in an exercise program if you're doing a sauna and then cooling yourself off afterwards. So for some reason, taking a sauna really makes a big difference in terms of weight loss. Okay, so walking is an excellent exercise, but it takes longer. Okay, takes about 40 minutes of exercise walking, jogging 15 to 20 minutes, cross-country skiing about 10 minutes, biking the same. Biking is a little longer. Cellerciser, very little time, 10 to 15 minutes. And the Cellerciser we talked about the other day uses literally every muscle in your body. So that's why it's such a good exercise. And the nice thing about the Cellerciser, you can just have it in one place in your home. You don't have to go anywhere to do the exercise. And if you do it regularly, every day, it'll work. Okay. So here's the cross-country ski machine. And of course, there's the Cellerciser. There's Dave doing his Cellercising. This is cross-country skiing out in the open. This is, I'm homesick looking at Montana here. But here, if you go out in the wilderness in Montana, it is so beautiful, and you hardly, I'm not going to say you're not going to extend energy, but you can talk while you're doing this, you see. So fit people tend to store sugar in the muscle. Fat people store. Fit people. Let's see here. Yeah, fit people store sugar in their muscle. Fat people store sugar in their fat. Exercise trains fat cells to release it easier. If you starve yourself or go on these fasts, and there's a big deal on intermittent fasting and living on a reduced calorie diet. Well, I'll tell you something. The phenomenon about getting regular exercise that's aerobic exercise is that your appetite will decrease. You will actually have less appetite, be less hungry if you're exercising regularly. You will also sleep better. When you're sleeping better, see, there's 5 phases of sleep, and the 5th one is the REM sleep. And that's what a lot of people don't get when they when they haven't been exercising like they should. They will not be able to sleep as well. So if you've been having trouble sleeping, you get out and do some exercise. And that'd be like, Doc, if you go out and take a 15 to 20-minute walk with your wife every morning and talk while you're walking. That way you'll know that you're not going to be going on beyond your cardiovascular level.
Doc, that's just like I cut the grass tonight. And I'll just tell you this real quick. It was almost 90 some degrees, but the sun wasn't out. So what I did was I cut the grass. I got built up a nice sweat, probably about a half hour, and then came in, took a shower, I drank some coconut water first, get my electrolytes back up, and rested for a little bit. But I could tell you, my shirt was soaking wet. That's how hot it was. And I didn't push myself, but I was just walking at a regular pace, taking breaks in between. So believe me, when it's hot, you can really extend yourself a lot quicker, expelling more energy and really exhausting yourself if you don't watch what you do.
Yeah, by the way, if you want to keep yourself a little cooler, rinse your t-shirt off in cold water and then put the shirt on over top of it. And it will keep you a lot cooler.
Right.
So, and here's how you test your progress. Can you run longer or walk longer or cross-country ski longer? Do you recover faster and do you sleep better? Now, when I'm talking about, when we talk about this 10 to 15 minutes or, 40 minutes, we're talking about warm-up time. That's what it takes to warm up before you start gaining benefits. So you have to really kind of double that. Now, I remember when I was a kid, my mother tried all kinds of weight loss products. Now, my mother was a beautiful woman. She wasn't a fat woman ever, but I remember a time when she gained some weight and didn't like it. My mother was the type that would do something about it. And when I was just a really small kid, she had this thing called a Calorama. And it was basically a bed that you lay on, and there were two pedals that you put your glutes on, and it would, exercise and try to do passive exercise. Well, passive exercise will not help you at all, except as it causes muscles to contract. Now, if you do something to contract the muscles, then that's a whole nother story, because those muscles have to burn something but the trouble is now, like for instance, these electronic devices that will cause your muscles to spasm and so forth, you're not controlling that with how much, in other words, it tends to burn sugar because it goes beyond the aerobic levels. You're not breathing with it, see? And so you really need to, with the Cellerciser, it's really, really easy to do aerobic exercise with it. Now, a lot of what's considered aerobic exercise is actually anaerobic exercise, because I know that these places will push you to where you're out of breath. Well, you don't really lose any weight doing that, you see? And I've gone through a couple of weight loss things myself, two of them, and I could lose some weight right now, and I'm gonna do that. But what I did one time is I had this little jogging path outside of my apartment, and I just started. I took one circuit around, and I would start and stop. I didn't let myself get out of breath until I started building up to where I started, breathing better. And I actually lost a lot of weight. I lost about 40 pounds, and I looked terrific. My mother took a picture of me, and I couldn't believe how good that picture looked, because I'd lost all that weight. I had to get new clothes and things like that, so, but then another time I after that I gained some weight, but I went on a muscle building program. Now, if you build your muscles up gradually, you will burn the fat because it's anaerobic exercise if you don't let yourself get out of breath. And I did. And I got to a place where I could ski really well because I took lessons on a regular basis. And I'll tell you something, there's nothing more fun than being able to ski when you're in good condition. Now, one of the things that a lot of people don't like skiing is because they're out of shape and they haven't had guidance to learn how to ski. Well, if you're living near a ski area, which you really need to do to really have the fun, you build yourself up. You make sure that you have a regular protocol when you go to the gym. You have, they will help you build the protocol for it. You build the muscles up, and then you build your endurance up. So you're working with two different tacks. You're building the muscles up, and then you're increasing your cardiovascular strength. And then you take the lessons. Now, what the importance of lessons is, you don't want to hurt yourself. And you got to learn where the brakes are when it comes to skiing. The first fear I had to overcome was not knowing where the brakes were. You don't want to go downhill and not be able to stop.
Yeah.
I'd be like riding a bike real fast without having any brakes on it. Well, it causes a lot of fear, and it causes a lot of injury to not know how to do that. But if you know how to control yourself and you have the stamina and the strength and the endurance to be able to do so, it is the most fun thing in the world. And you absolutely don't want the winter to end. And that's how people live in the Northwest. They don't want the winter to end because of that. And I tell you, it was a tremendous amount of fun. Now, when I got away from that and let myself go a little bit as far as cardiovascular strength and tone and muscles and everything like that, and then tried to ski. I knew how to ski, but I didn't have the stamina and the strength behind it, and ended up really winded and out of breath and overextended myself. You have to have the heart. Your heart has to be able to have the endurance. You have to have the circulation in your heart, and you also have to have the circulation in your muscles. You have to, cardiovascular fitness. And believe me, one of the things, now I've had 3 friends pass away just in the recent last 6 months, all of them NUCA doctors, all of them from cardiovascular problems. All of them had heart attacks, every last one of them. One of my best friends passed away this last June 24. He went up fishing in his favorite fishing spot. It was going to be a 5-generation fishing trip for them. It was going to be good memories. His grandson, his son, and I don't know if his dad was along with him or not, but it was going to be a memorable fishing trip. And he died up there in Canada. And what a terrible. And his wife was just brokenhearted. And he had a tremendous practice, tremendously brilliant man, so much to contribute. So, it's really so important to have the proper nutrients and know how to deal with keep the bad foods out, keep the good foods in your diet, and have the 90 essential nutrients. I got on Dr. Wallach's protocols after that incident that I had, and it opened my heart right up. I mean, my blood oxygen level went from 84 up to 98. After 6 months, it was up there. And we have something called Oxybody Cherry Berry that you can take that will actually put oxygen right into your bloodstream. I don't know if that would have helped him at that time, but when you have a lot of times when you have a heart attack like that, you've got narrowing of the blood vessels, and then you have a thrombosis along with it. And that thrombosis is a lack of essential fatty acids. So, you could die from this. And if you know this, if you know how to handle yourself with the nutrients, and if you're keeping yourself in chiropractic care and under proper exercises and proper nutrients, you can safely do this. You can safely build yourself up. Okay, so with that, and when you do this, your brain's going to function better, your heart is going to function better, your kidneys are going to function better, your lungs are going to function better, your kidneys and your extremities are going to do better also when you have the strength. So, exercise really, really changes everything. These you're going to sleep better. You're going to be more stress free, and have better fitness and consistency. And um, and you want to have fun with this. You want to have lots of fun doing the exercise. So, Doc, do you have any comments on this?
No, I think it's good. Exercise is the key to better health. I think an average person, from what I remember, it's about 30 pounds overweight, no matter what you do. So everybody can at least lose about 30 pounds.
So, is that what you're thinking for yourself?
Oh yeah, me. I'm way down. I was 250. No, 240 something. 240, 240, 239, something like that. Now I'm down to 222, and the only thing I've changed was I'm taking longevity all the time.
So that's
And
the only thing you've changed?
Yeah, and I drink a lot of water. And a big one. I went back to start eating some meat in between. I gave up the meat for a while.
Yeah.
Red meat, the chicken, and I don't eat any pork. But I gave up a lot of meat for a long time. And since I put the meat back in a little at a time, like tonight I had some chili and meatloaf. I generally don't do that, but more vegetables, and my body's readjusting.
So you're listening to innate a little bit there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. That's very interesting that you've been led to do that, and you've lost the weight like that without even trying.
Well, I also, well, let me put it this way. I used to eat 3 meals a day, so I fast from the time, like tonight. I won't eat anything else the rest of the night, and I'll wait till maybe 11, 12 tomorrow, or 1 or 2, and then I'll eat something.
Yeah.
I only eat 1 meal a day.
Well, apparently they have done atomic studies, nuclear studies on people, where they take one molecule of the sugar and they attach a little radioactive isotope to it, and they have shown that people that don't exercise when they eat sugar, it'll go into fat. Whereas if they are exercising, it'll go straight to the muscles and get burned out real quick. It leaves their system. So that's another important thing. It just reorders your system when you're exercising. Everything works better. You stop and think about all the muscles in your body that are functioning. And I think about that Cellerciser a lot. When you're using that Cellerciser, it literally exercises every muscle in your body, because you have that constant up and down between 0 gravity and 2 G's. So you're going up and down and literally causing those muscles to function. And, plus the fact it works on the circulation, it works on the lymph system, eliminating toxins and poisons out, and so forth. So you got the best of 3 worlds when you have proper chiropractic alignment with the nerve supply, the proper nutrients for the tissue supply, and then you have exercise, regular exercise of all the. You have the serous fluid cycle is activated, so that the toxins are being transported out of your system, and the new fresh nutrients and water are coming into the system. It's like the best of both worlds. So Yeah,
When I,
I was thinking about my three friends there. I mean, none of them should have died. Uh, Only one was overweight that I know of. The other two were not. So whether you're obese or not, it's not a determining factor as to whether you have heart conditions or not. Um, you can be proper weight and still have that impending heart attack coming. And the thing of it is that you don't have to fear if you're obeying the laws of health, because the Bible says the curse causeless shall not come. Does that make sense?
does.
In other words, everything has a cause. And if we're not obedient to the laws of health, we're not going to live as long as we could. And I've looked throughout my career at people who die young and people that don't. And sometimes there's a mindset there that leads them into a lifestyle that promotes early death.
Hmm.
And one of those lives, I remember seeing a picture. I used to have the picture. I don't have it anymore. It was an old time picture from early BJ Palmer era where it showed a picture of a pathway that divides. And on one side, you have a sprinkler and greenery and things like this. And on the other side, you see a bunch of headstones and death and destruction. And it's the one way is the chiropractic lifestyle, and the other is medical lifestyle. Well, I would like to think that that's true. And yet I've had chiropractic friends of mine who were not on the proper nutrients who died early. And it's averaging around 68 years of age or early 60s. This last friend of mine was born in 1962, so that would make him about 62 years old. Well, that's way too young to die. That's way too young to die. And this is really, really important for important people like this. These are board certified NUCA doctors, and they have knowledge there on how to correct the subluxation like nobody else does. And I just mourn over that, the fact that they died such an early death.
Well, Doc,
I've actually had over in the last 5 years, I've had lost about five of my closest friends, five or six, no, seven of them. So you really start taking a look at your friends' mortality, and you compare it to your own, staying on the proper nutrients makes so much more sense than to not do so. So you've obviously seen some real effects on your own life from being on the nutrients then.
yeah. Well, remember, I had some issues. I had some kidney issues, which I'm working on. I had some liver issues, which I'm working on, and I had the carotid artery, the left side, 98% clogged. So,
How's that doing?
well, last time I had it checked, now that was about 5 years ago. Within the 3 years, I had it checked. It went from severe down to mild. So now if the thing is, you want to try to reduce whatever you can the plaque in the arteries, right?
Right.
And you want to try to make the arteries more pliable so they're not so stiff. And two of the things,
get away from the seed oils, and
well, that's one of them.
Heavy on the essential fatty acids.
Yeah, I've been taking 3 a day. I'm going to go up to probably 6 a day.
I take 12.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, I take 12, and the reason I do is there's numerous reasons I do that, but I just know that I function better when I have 12 a day than from just 3 or 6.
Well,
You can be a minimalist, or you can be, you can go a little heavy on it. Just like pedal to the metal. If little is good, more is better, type of thing.
Well,
Well-
I will say with the longevity, what I did do, and this is within probably the last month. I went from the 1 ounce, one capful of the plant-derived minerals and the Tangy Tangerine, I believe Classic I believe that's what I have. And then I take, instead of 1 capful, now I'm up to 2 capfuls a day. So I'm getting more nutrition with that. And then I'm going to be starting to take the, more of the, DHA.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that I found out too, I want to share with you and all the listeners out there and viewers out there, that magnesium, because I was low in magnesium, and Dr. Peter Glidden from Dr. Wallach's team said it before, magnesium is the key to why blood pressure is high, and exactly why I had to take magnesium for that reason and everything else that your body needs.
One of the interesting things is it will open up your bowels. And, I believe that the reason for that is there's a lot of parasites in there that have to come out of there. And your body just starts rejecting them like crazy. Then your bowels aren't quite so loose after a while, with that magnesium. But boy, it will sure open up your bowels when you first start with it, And what I do is I take the Beyond, the Ultimate Classic, which has some calcium and magnesium in it also, instead of the Tangy Tangerine. And it's thicker. You have to make sure you shake it up really well. That's the thing I don't like about it. It has a little bit of a heavier taste than Tangy Tangerine does. But it's a little bit less expensive because you've got all the minerals in there that you need. See, one of the things about Tangy Tangerine, it only has 300 milligrams per ounce, and you need 6 per 100 pounds body weight. You need to have 600 milligrams of minerals per day. Well, it has all the minerals you need. And if you take extra minerals, that's fine. I like to spray them on my body, especially during the summertime when it's hot, And when you ever have your feet get hot in bed, the bottoms of your feet?
Yes.
You take that, you take that spray bottle and spray the bottoms of your feet, and it'll knock that right out of there.
Okay.
And when you absorb it through your skin, you don't have to go through the digestive system then, so you don't have the problem with bowel tolerance with the minerals.
Okay.
So I've got Marvin and Julie doing that, spraying themselves, and it makes such a huge difference. I've noticed that if I have an ache or a pain someplace, it'll generally knock it very quickly. So, but see, another thing is when you're exercising, you're going to be sweating. And one of the things that Dr. Wallach noticed is that athletes also die young. And the reason is because they're sweating out all their minerals.
Right.
So these you would think that an athlete that is living up to all that he's supposed to do should live longer. And yet we see these kids out there doing marathons and dropping dead of cardiomyopathy heart attacks. Well, that's a selenium deficiency, and it's like stiff lamb's disease in animals. It's a muscular dystrophy of the heart that's a result of not having proper nutrients, that because you're sweating them all out. So, how's your wife been doing?
Doing pretty good on the. She's doing pretty good on the. She's been taking them too, Doc. She's taking the longevity too, but she's been feeling a little bit better. It's still having some stumbling blocks,
So somewhat.
She's still having some stumbling blocks.
Stumbling blocks. Okay. Yeah.
But she's doing better.
Yeah. Is it stumbling blocks to taking the stuff or just other symptoms?
Life in general, just
life in general. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the OCD stuff keeps going on and on.
Yeah. Well, just all I can say is hang in there because the nutrients play a big part of that. They they actually do, make a big difference. So, um, so I just kind of want to go back through this and see if we can recap this.
Sure, go
Just kind
ahead.
of go through it again.
You got it? Or you need me to do it?
I'm getting it here. I'm
Okay.
getting it. There we go. Okay, fat burning exercise. We're just going to go through it again here. Weight loss. The going on diets and getting off of diets will actually increase your weight over time. Even though you may have some weight loss in between, it will not stay there. And the reason it won't stay there is because you're basically trying to control your innate. Innate is really what drives satiety and things like this. Okay, so you're kind of working at it at the wrong end from trying to control innate. Okay, uh, cells store energy. Muscles burn sugar in anaerobic exercise. Muscles burn fat during aerobic exercise. Fat needs oxygen to burn. Okay, just like gas needs oxygen to burn in an engine. So the elements causing muscle contraction are calcium, adenosine triphosphate, which is basically the fuel of the cell, and that's a breakdown from your sugar, and it can be a breakdown from fat, as long as you have oxygen. But it also you can actually break down your muscle. Now, one of the things I didn't mention here before, and I'm glad I'm going through this again, is that uh, if you're doing anaerobic exercise, you're also breaking down your muscle tissue. Now, some people think that that's necessary for making progress. I don't. I don't believe you need to do that. Your muscles will take care of themselves, uh, and so anaerobic respiration burns sugar, and it ends up causing lactic acid, which is sore muscles, which will tend to. This is the biggest thing that causes people to stop exercising. They get all sore and they think, I'm never going to do that again. Well, what they did is they really overdid themselves, and the idea is never to do yourself when you begin. Okay, when you're a tenderfoot and you're starting out from this, you keep relaxed, and keep it fun. Okay, because when you do that, it's going to burn your fat, and the fat doesn't burn while you're exercising. It burns at night after you're relaxing in bed. When you're asleep, this is when this progress happens. The fat goes to the cells, and the oxygen burns it, and so forth, and so forth. So to make exercise work for you, use more muscles, lower intensity, more fat burn. That's why we want to use bigger muscles. Bigger muscles are used when you're walking upright. Okay, walking uses less muscles than jogging. Okay. Uh, that's not necessarily true. Um, you're using the same muscles, you're just not using them as at the highest frequency. Now, can you jog and talk at the same time? Well, generally not, unless you really have worked up to it over time. So if you're going to walk and you want to walk and jog, mix it up until you get to the place where you can jog for longer distances. Cross country skiing is the best overall because your heart may not be racing any faster, but you're employing many more muscles, you see. Cellerciser is the same way. It's equal to or better than cross country skiing. And they don't make cross country skiing machines anymore. You have to buy them refurbished. The Norditrack used to make the best. But Cellerciser, I believe, is equal to or better than cross country skiing. And the reason is because it employs literally every muscle of your body at the same time. So large muscles versus small muscles. Anything you do upright is going to incorporate your buttocks and your leg muscles, your thigh muscles, and even your calf muscles. And it doesn't show them here, but you can see that the small muscles are contained in the arm, and you don't use those as often. But see, if you use an exercise that uses both, you got the best of both worlds there. You got small muscles and large muscles, and that's what the Cellerciser tends to do. Okay, walking and swimming, of course, is the worst exercise of all, as we talked about before, because generally you're using only your arms to swim with. Walking takes about 40 minutes to warm up to before you can really see benefit afterwards. Jogging, 15 to 20 minutes before it starts seeing benefit. So you have to kind of warm up. Cross-country skiing, you can warm up in about 10 minutes. Cellerciser, the same thing. And of course, like I said, when you exercise, you need to be able to do it at a pace where you're able to talk with your friend. And what that signifies is that you're not overextending yourself in terms of oxygen. Now, there is another product that Youngevity sells. It's called Oxybody Cherryberry. I take it every day, and it actually adds oxygen to your bloodstream.
Okay.
I have tested it when I was having low oxygen. If I was running about 94, I could take one capful of it, and it would knock my blood oxygen up within 10 minutes up to 98. It's kind of like being in a hyperbaric chamber in a sense.
Oh, nice.
So if you don't have a hyperbaric chamber available, get some Oxybody Cherryberry and start taking it. In fact, I have a bottle here. Hold on.
Check it out.
You want to take the picture down for a minute here, and I'll just show this real big.
Sure. Let me give me a second to find the thing here. There you go.
Yeah, Oxybody Cherryberry.
Oxybody Cherryberry. Now, is that the only thing that's in it? Is it what's the oxygen? What is it?
Well, basically, it's food grade hydrogen peroxide.
Oh, okay.
It also has some chromium and selenium in it too, and some
Oh,
zinc.
nice.
And vitamin C. It has vitamin C in it too. So, but yeah, I mean, it's basically it's done in a manner that it doesn't burn you when you take it. A lot of times, try food grade hydrogen peroxide, it'll burn your mouth if it's in a high enough concentration. Well, this is just the right concentration, just the right formula to increase your blood oxygen, and it does really well. So if you want to put the illustrations back up here again, then.
Sure.
So cross-country skiing and the Cellerciser is incredible. Now this guy is in tremendous shape. This is Dave. He's tremendously strong, by the way.
He looks strong.
His strength is flexible. His muscles are not rigid. So that's the wonderful thing about the Cellerciser. It's got to be the best thing since sliced bread. It's the best. You can try other rebounders and they don't work like this does. They just don't. And of course, cross-country skiing. Have you ever cross-country skied, Doc?
No, I can't. I couldn't do it.
How come?
Just couldn't do it.
So were you not in good enough shape, or was it coordination, or what was it?
It's more than that. It's a little bit of both. Just couldn't do it, guy. I've never tried it, and I don't think I ever could.
Do they do that much around where you're at? I mean, some places have the snow, but they don't have people doing it. Like here, for instance, in Iowa, nobody does it. They have plenty of snow here.
Yeah.
but nobody gets out and does it. They don't have places you can buy the skis at, and people just don't do it. Now, they did up in Wisconsin when I was there. And of course, they did. I've done it in Montana. And by the way, one of the things, I got River Life saying hi. Hi, guys. Glad to be here. Love your shows. Thank you. Appreciate that so much. It's a wonderful, wonderful sport. I mean, I'll tell you a little secret. If you are going to cross country ski, you have to do one of two things. You either have to go to a place where people are cross country skiing, like on a track, or you need to buy backcountry skis. And the reason I say that is because one time I tried cross country skiing out in the wilderness, like you see here, only there wasn't a lot of people skiing out there. So there was no tracks in the snow that I could follow. The backcountry skis are wider, so that they'll stay on top of the snow. Whereas a cross country ski is very narrow, and you really have to be following a lot of other people doing the same thing, like you see here. Now, I had mentioned my mother. I don't know how far I got in this story with her. I told about the Calorama that she had. She also had one of these things that had a belt. Maybe you've seen these where you put a belt around yourself and it shakes you, and she tried that and she got rid of that. And then she started just walking, and she would walk. She had a circuit that she rode, that she would walk around town. She would walk on about a 5-mile circuit around town every single day. And I remember she lost weight. I mean, she really got herself down looking really nice just by doing that every single day. And she had a route that she took. She had bathrooms that she knew where all the bathrooms were. She could stop and go to the bathroom if she needed to. But she was very, very regular at exercising. And she did lose the weight, and she basically followed this particular protocol where she didn't get out of breath, but she had stamina because she built up to it. And see, the nice thing about this is you don't have to go out and just, burn yourself out doing this. You want to have fun doing this. You want to really enjoy what you're doing rather than trying to go out and gangbusters, because you won't lose the weight and then you'll get discouraged. See, if you go into anaerobic exercise, that's where you get out of breath and it becomes hard. And then you end up sore afterwards. Whereas with this method, you don't end up sore. You're going to end up in nothing but feeling better. So, and, we're going to go through this again. Fit people store more sugar in their muscles. Fat people store sugar in their fat. What do we mean by fat people or fit people store sugar in their muscle? Well, when you take sugar in, if you're used to burning fat, you're going to burn the sugar first, but you're going to burn fat along with it, and you won't tend to get sore. Okay. And when you exercise, it trains the fat cells to release easier. In other words, when you do this a lot, you become a lean, green fighting machine. You end up with, a ripped abdomen and things like that. And it's just so much nicer. It's so much better lifestyle. Doc, have you ever been buff in your life? Really buff? Built yourself up?
Yeah, I think when I was younger, when I was doing track and I was an athlete and I was doing more sports, and I was baseball, football, and track, I really was a little bit more buffer, and I was also, do the weightlifting and stuff, and ate a little healthier. I didn't eat so many pizza slices and stuff.
So many what?
Pizza slices.
So what? I didn't quite.
Pizza slices.
Oh, pizza slices. Yeah. Well, you want to get away from that anyway because that's gluten. See.
Well, I
unless
didn't know.
you
See, here's the thing. I never knew that.
never knew about gluten, did you? Well, I'll tell you what. I've learned so many things about from Dr. Wallach about being healthier. Staying away from the gluten has made a big difference in my life. I think that probably you have more parasites when you're on gluten too.
Well, that's the other
And
thing. It attracts them and keeps them.
yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. If you're swimming in a body full of toxins, you're attracting parasites. You clean all that stuff out by exercise and good nutrition and good. You're going to flush that stuff out of your system. So now that we're kind of at the end of our deal here, do you have what do you have? As kind of a final word to say here.
Well, health can be taken in so many different ways, but first and foremost, we want to live as long as healthy as we possibly can be. So every day is a new beginning to our health. Every day is a new beginning to how we live our day and the importance of what we put in our bodies, what we drink, and our environment. It's all part of who we are. But doesn't mean that, say, if I ate a pizza years ago, I'm going to eat a pizza now. It doesn't even mean that. If I eat anything, it's going to be a healthier version of me because I'm tired of all that bad stuff. I want the good stuff to start showing and feel healthier about my body and feel healthier about who I am as a person. And then this can relate to everybody because now you're the beacon of light example of what you tell other people to do or what other people should do. It's up to them.
Well, of all the advice that a doctor can give, they just hand you a pill. What they really should have done is, along with the pill they should have told you to exercise, because exercise will make the difference in everything. And really, you stop and think about the 5 signs of life: assimilation, excretion, adaptability, growth, and reproduction are all involved when you exercise. And I want to put that other illustration up here if I can, Doc. The one that's
Sure.
the other one here. So, and along with this, it's important to get the 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 essential amino acids, 3 essential fatty acids. And one other thing I want to put up here. That I'd like to close with here, as I always do.
Okay.
If I can find it here.
That's your catchphrase. I think you're going to.
What's that?
That's your catchphrase.
You know what I'm looking for, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Let's see if I can find it here. You don't happen to have it with you, do you?
No, I don't have it.
Okay, I should give it to you sometime.
Yeah, if you give it to me, I can just pull it up.
Yeah, let's see here. License. There we go.
Got it?
There it is. You want to put that up there?
Yep.
And just remember, of all who claim to cure, there are only 3 who tell the truth, and they are the butcher, the tanner, and the tobacco farmer.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
In other words, the body needs no help. It just needs no interference. So thank you very much, and good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for being here with Doc Wiedemann. And don't forget, get Doc's Minerals. Contact info, Doc Wiedemann, Health Reform 90@gmail.com, or text him at 406-270-3754. GetDocsMinerals.com. Bye-bye.
Yes, and if you'd hit that like button and subscribe button, that will help us out as well. So thank you very much.